Hello everyone, welcome back. I got some really good ones for you today on this Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. A lot's been going on with the markets, and that's what we're going to be focusing on for this evening's video. So welcome back, glad you made it, glad we could hang out together. Hope you're having a wonderful week so far, hope you've been well. Kind of miss these night videos. Been a while since I've done a night video, but I kind of like it. Changes up the ambiance a little bit. But let's dive right into these markets, shall we? All three major U.S. stock indices had a pretty solid day today. We're off to a pretty strong start for the week, all starting about a week and a half ago when the Fed decided not to raise interest rates and the market started to kind of smell that maybe we're almost done with interest rate hikes, and that kind of gets the market giddy. We also have inflation right now coming down a little bit on its own. Gas prices nationally have come down a little bit. Guys, I'm not here to tell you inflation's gone away and it's a Christmas miracle, okay? The dollar has been the problem for years now, especially since 2020. Inflation remains a big problem. Inflation remains sticky, entrenched, getting baked into long-term contracts. It's destroying the middle and working class. So I'm not, gonna sit here and tell you like, oh, party on, inflation's coming down on its own, but Mr. Market likes to see it, all right, no question. So if Wall Street has certain expectations about October inflation, and they're worried that if already hot inflation gets hotter, then the Federal Reserve might have to come out with additional interest rate hikes to get inflation under control, well, that would be bad for markets. But we didn't get that. Today, we got an inflation number that shows inflation coming down on its own. And Mr. Market reads that as less of a chance going forward that the Fed will aggressively continue to hike interest rates. If inflation's coming down on its own and the Fed decided they didn't need to raise interest rates last week, and bond yields have come down, the debt market is stabilizing, and the dollar is weakening. Guys, Mr. Market loves that. The market just, it's a bit of a Goldilocks zone for the market. You had the dollar coming down, yields coming down, rates coming down, volatility coming down. Market loved it. Inflation in the CPI coming down, not inflation for the markets. That's so funny how the mainstream media was like, oh, inflation's coming down, so the stocks are going to the moon. It's like, yeah, inflation in widgets, pairs of shoes, and Girl Scout cookies and gas is coming down a little bit, but we still have rampant inflation in the financial system. And if you're a young person right now trying to acquire assets, trying to buy your first shares of Home Depot or Tesla, well, right now you're hoping these things come down a lot more. But the market doesn't want to give you that. The financial system doesn't want to give you that. They want to continue to flood the global economy with dollars. They want to continue to stoke inflation, increase the debt, expand the Fed balance sheet. These are all the things that the financial system's in the business of doing, and it really destroys working class labor. But hey, it sends these stocks higher. Stock prices net like inflation. I understand that sometimes when inflation in the CPI, consumer prices, is running too hot, the market doesn't like that because it thinks it'll create like demand destruction, and people will start to cut back and spend less, and that'll erode profit margins. And so sometimes the market likes to try to sell you that inflation being too high is bad for the market. But guys, that to me is a psyop, because net the stock market, in my opinion, is the primary beneficiary of easy money, cheap money policies. And the Fed, the Treasury, the CEOs of all these member banks for the Federal Reserve System, guys, they're all doves, okay? And what I mean by that is they all like fake money. They like adding zeros and ones to screen, digital ones and zeros. Just how much do we need to pay these people over here? 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0, enter. But whenever the Fed embarks on these 1 followed by 12 zero keystrokes, these labor-intensive clicking of the keyboard, it enslaves entire generations of people, and it does drive stock prices higher, and it prices younger folks out of these markets. So it's like we're in the Goldilocks zone for the elites right now, because we have inflation high and perhaps too sticky and too high for everyone's liking. but it's not so high it's wrecking their game and forcing them to raise interest rates more. So it's like we get to have our cake and eat it too. Like, we get inflation to be good for stock prices, but inflation not so high that it just completely destroys the game. And then you see volatility come down, and you see the Fed not raising interest rates, and you add it all up, and it's like a Goldilocks zone for asset price appreciation. Now, whether stocks going up or down, it's not really up is good, down is bad. It's just prices are just prices. Like I said, if you're trying to buy these markets, you're gonna have a hard time with that. You know, they need to make these planes engines quieter. That's what they need to do. Boeing, hey Boeing, can you stop selling missiles and just create a quieter engine? Sorry guys, I don't even live that close to the airport. It's just anytime I do a video, the planes start flying overhead. It's like they know. It's like air traffic control. It's like, yeah, I'm feeling a disturbance in the force. It's like Mike is in his yard making a video right now, so we better divert flight traffic over his house. You know what I mean? Feels like it anyway. But yeah, we've had a monster day for markets, guys. The S&P 500 already hanging out around 4,500. That was my year-end target, and we hit it that was my year-end target from the last video. We hit it like 2 days later. That's crazy. NASDAQ wants to take a stab at 15,000, it looks like. So, and the Dow Jones hanging out at 35,000. Yeah, these are nice, beautiful, big, round numbers that really make the elites giddy. The recession is canceled. And by that, I mean the recession in dollars and the American standard of living and the economy. That recession will continue, but the raging bull market in asset prices as the dollar collapses, well, that raging bull market looks to continue. That's really my take on it, guys. So don't think I'm one of those YouTube analyst, armchair amateur analyst that's gonna come out here and be like, up is good, down is bad, up is good, down. It doesn't work like that, man. Prices are just prices, you know. But anyway, if you're sitting on 1,000 shares of Amazon, 1,000 shares of Google right now, like, life's pretty good for you, you know what I mean? And those are the people running the tables. So surprise, the rich got richer and the middle class continues to struggle. Surprise, they don't pay interest on your checking or savings account. Surprise. You know, that kind of thing. Russell 2000, that's a small index, and it went up 5% today. You know, we don't really talk about the Russell 2000 small cap index. The reason we don't really talk about that index is if we want to speculate, we're going to stay away in this channel, just my opinion, from small cap or mid cap publicly traded companies. We're going to stick with stocks to large cap and mega cap companies, guys, the dominant players in each space. We're talking about the Amazons, the Apples, the Microsofts, the Nvidias, the Boeings, the Home Depots, the Teslas, you know, the McDonald's, the Chevrons. That's kind of what we're into for stocks. And then if we want to take a little bit more risk in this channel, just how kind of we roll, but do your own thing, well, then we'll go speculate on the altcoin casino floor. We'll go YOLO into some shit coins, you know what I mean? But when it comes to our stock picks, just very large cap, mega cap companies that are going to be the dominant player next week, the dominant player in a month from now, the dominant player in a year from now, you know. And believe me, it works. That's the other thing. People are like, why do you prefer large cap and mega cap stocks? Because they do really well. Look at the Magnificent Seven. Look at Amazon, Apple, Meta, Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft. Like, look at those all-time stock charts, you guys. To those that have, more is often given. The dominant player tends to stay dominant. You know, some of these large cap, mega cap companies are as large as the entire altcoin or Bitcoin market. You know, pick these dominant players and just hold them forever. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to be sold. Sell them? Never, you know. But we don't do buy or sell recommendations on this channel, so you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. But just telling you what I'm into, you guys. Metals came up today, but it's not really like a fear trade. It's not like metals are going up because geopolitical tensions are just getting completely out of control and the dollar's in a full-on collapse. Metals are just up because they've been beaten up pretty good this last few weeks. So seeing silver pop today about 3-4%, you know, that just tells me, dude, you've been grinding along the bottom though. Like, wake up, catch up, you know, and we talked about silver needing to catch up in this channel. So good to see it, but it's hard to say like gold and silver are on fire right now. You know, gold's not too far away from all-time highs though. It's stable, you know. Not for everybody though, guys. I know a lot of people don't like gold and silver. And we only like stacking physical for the long term. We don't mess around in metals derivatives ever. That's just kind of what I'm into. If you want to ignore precious metals, go ahead. And if you want to get involved in precious metals, do what you want. But what I'm into, just stacking physical for the long term. That's it. You want to gamble, leave the mining stocks alone and go gamble in Solana or Avalanche or Chainlink or Uniswap, you know what I mean? But metals are up nonetheless, so good to see a little bit of metal strength. Man, that dollar today, guys, the DXY came down 1.5%, cratered, you know, and that's the dollar in relative terms. So the dollar measured against most other fiat trash government issued currencies on the planet. The dollar fell against those, and then the dollar fell against gold. So yeah, in relative and absolute terms, today the dollar got beat up pretty good, and stock market loves that. Stock market likes a weaker dollar because it requires more and more weaker dollars to buy the same share of the S&P 500, if that makes sense. So having a hard time reading my little notebook because we're doing a little night video, but I like it. Another stock you can take a look at, Disney. We started talking about it on this channel around 81, 82 a share. Started talking about $82 Disney being a real good deal. Hit 91 today. So Disney looking to start clawing its way back after losing a decade of share price, you guys. Disney's having some difficult conversations right now about the culture war behind closed doors in their board meetings. You know, South Park's dogging on them. Everybody's just starting to dog on Disney. But you guys, Disney ain't going anywhere, in my opinion. You know, Disney's minted their own currency before, the Disney dollar. They were a nuclear superpower at one point, okay? So Disney isn't like little crappy movies that kids watch and then a couple theme parks. Guys, Disney is a tech company, a monolithic tech company. They have deep, deep, deep pockets. They could buy up publishers like EA with a blank check tomorrow, you know? So Disney ain't going anywhere. It is the culture. It's like a cornerstone, a pillar of American culture. I mean, the brand alone is worth billions. The images in your, just when you go to bed at night and dream of Disney characters, these things are mind viruses. You know, Disney's creations have really bled into American culture and the world's culture, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. You ever heard of the Disney Vault? That's another thing. Man, they're a power structure, all right? So take a look at Disney if you're into that kind of thing. Price might be right. If not, whatever, do your thing. Hope it works out for you. Well, that's really all I got for you guys for right now. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we're just gonna keep going, all right? Till next time.